28 overs at an exact run rate of 3. How classical test match truly is. Gone are the days of 4 and 5 and 6 runs per over. But yes, this is a session that I will say firmly belonged to England, because they dismissed Yashasvi Jaiswal for 87. He was the only individual who seemed to be going well. Shubman Gill has been very unlike Shubman Gill. 42 of 109, really stonewalled at one end. Pant has shown his intentions with the 6 of Bashir. And that's why 182 for 3 in 53 overs. England might be slightly happy, or do you think India will be okay? Only one wicket fell, 84 runs were scored. Do you think they'll be happier?
I think, Siddharth, from the Indian team perspective, given what had happened in the previous test match, I think you'd be happy where you are, because you don't want to expose your tail too soon. Even if the run flow has been slow in comparison, I think you take that. The idea is to have wickets in hand, and that's what I think I could draw from that Gill innings as well. 42 of 109 deliveries that he has scored, and while there was decent run flow from the other end, because for the large part of this particular session he batted alongside Yashasvi Jaiswal. He played most of the deliveries, but I thought he wanted to spend time in the middle. You could say that he almost sort of went into a shell of sorts, but I think it'll be a little harsh on him. The idea, I think, was for Gill to spend time in the middle, and that's what I think this Indian team wants to do today. These are good conditions. Go punish the odd ball and only take very few chances, and don't let your tail get exposed too soon. So it was extremely safe cricket that I saw from Shubman Gill. There weren't any aggressive stroke play. There wasn't any aggressive stroke play, or there weren't any unneeded strokes for that matter. We'll come to that Jaiswal dismissal in just a bit, but just focusing on that Shubman Gill innings, because on a batting track you would expect him to score more runs. He's only scoring at 38, but even on a few occasions where I think he could have charged down, especially to a Bashir, he refused to do so, keeping the field in mind, I'm saying that. So looking at everything, I just feel Gill wanted to just ensure he spends as much time in the middle as possible, and neither does Rishabh Pant look to be in a hurry as of now. Remember, this is exactly how he had started in Leeds as well, and it was later that he accelerated. Bashir was brought on immediately after Pant came on, again something that we saw today as well, but he wasn't tempted. They tried to tempt him in Leeds. He wasn't taking the bait. You saw similar glimpses or similar shades in Pant today as well, where he was refusing to get swayed by the additional flight on offer, or the fact that there was a spinner bowling at one end. So I think India want to spend time in the middle, and they have this thing that they want to at least bat out the whole day today and have wickets in hand for tomorrow.
They also pointed out one interesting thing about Shubman Gill. He was batting so ahead of the crease also, and I think he was determined that he should cover that inside edge, because
which is why, Siddharth, since you point that out, see, the ball wasn't swinging. Now traditionally what we've seen is that batters, and Virat Kohli's 2018 series is a prime example of that, where we've seen batters advance from their usual position. They take their guard and take a much advanced guard of sorts, and a much frontal guard of sorts, leave a big gap over there. When you want to cut down on the swing, when you don't want to give bowlers or the ball the chance for the ball to swing a lot, these weren't swinging conditions. So that's the little odd bit for me, why he was standing so far ahead of the crease, but he was a fair distance away, as we saw, away from the crease. So but he wasn't being aggressive a couple of times. Even despite that advanced guard that he was taking, he tried to step down on a couple of occasions, but the intention was not to play aggressive strokes, which is oftentimes something that you see with batters if they're walking down the track, that they'll come up with aggressive strokes. I don't think Shubman Gill was looking for boundaries any time. He was looking to just fend the ball off or present the full face of the bat. That is what I saw from Shubman Gill. So in many ways, I don't think his idea also was to ensure that this becomes like a run fest for the Indian team. The idea was to hold your wicket. You already had a good start at 98 for 2. Just ensure that you as a batter get more confidence and you get a better sense of the wicket.
See, I think this kind of approach will work very well with Pant there. Pant will go bang bang at one end. Shubman Gill grinds the bowlers down at the other end with this kind of display. And I think England will have a double whammy as to what plans should we have. Gill is becoming ultra defensive. Pant is becoming ultra aggressive. So that is where I think England will now have a quandary in the next session.
You think this could be the thing going forward now for India, where Gill's holding one end and Pant could accelerate in the last session?
Yes. That is the way I think India might want to proceed. Because see, run scoring has been pretty difficult in this, unless either the pitch is not making you adaptable to stroke play, or the England bowlers bowled with tremendous discipline. They didn't allow that many. I mean, look at it. Jaiswal just managed 2 boundaries. When he was already on 62, he had already hit 11 boundaries. He only managed 2. Shubman Gill, on the other hand, again, he didn't, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 6 overs, Jaiswal faced only 10 deliveries. And that resulted in a loss of momentum. The strike rate wasn't impacted. I mean, just a loss of 8, but then you want to make it in a test match. But then that dismissal, I think that was something unexpected. Yes, he was flaying at deliveries. He was cutting, going after it outside off, but then one bottom edge. And Jamie Smith gobbled the catch up, and yeah, it was just he looked good for a second 100 against England in England. So that is why I think that is the one thing that will keep England in high spirits.
That's the thing with players who will go for their strokes. The day that the strokes come off, and for a large part of those 87 runs, he timed everything beautifully. But you could argue that it was a needless shot. Why chase a ball that was so outside the off stump? It was, if you ask me, more of a loosener only. So as a batter, you're entitled. But the purists will say that no, you don't fish at something so wide and just let it be till the time it's plain your way, whatever. Don't go too square. There's always a little bit of a risk with that horizontal bat. So but you need to make your peace with the fact that some players, let's say Jaiswal for that matter, or a Pant for that matter, on some days you will look either stupid or foolish, or you can add whatever adjectives you want to add over there, whatever words you want to add in similar vein, but you will take that 87 from Yashasvi as well. Yes, on a batting track, as a side that lost the toss, you would feel that at some point we need these 70s and 80s to convert into a 140, 150, 160, because that oftentimes is the difference. But for whatever it's worth, those 87 runs were good quality runs, and yeah, it's exactly how these runs had come as well. When the ball was there to be hit, when there was nothing really happening off the ground, off the surface, you take your chances as a batter. He'd spent enough time. He'd played over 100 balls, so I think that shot was somewhere on, looking at it from the batter's perspective.
See, now we only have 20 minutes because at 8:30 we are going to have the final session. So the playing conditions are, if you don't finish your overs by 10:30, an additional half an hour will happen. England have 37 overs to bowl.
Since you like being so precise with time, we're only left with about 8 minutes now.
Yeah, we are left with 8 minutes. So we'll take some comments and then we'll have a lengthier post-match
But
discussion.
your thoughts before we get into the comments of that?
I think,
on that Jaiswal dismissal?
The shot was on. This is typical Jaiswal. I mean, you cannot curb his aggressive instincts, because then that will be the undoing of Yashasvi Jaiswal. If you curb his aggressive instincts, he likes to go for it. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't come off in that sense. Yes, I would say that the shot was on, but it went so much against the run of play, because they both had gotten their eye in, and their things that, okay, we are all set for a big one. It came against the run of play, and that is why, this was not what the script had demanded. So yeah, Yashasvi Jaiswal, I would say, very unlucky to have not gotten the 100. He deserved it. But yeah, England also, credit to them. I think this session, they bowled to the plan, and that is why they dried up the run flow, hoped that there would be some kind of pressure, and it did work out. 84 for 1. I would say, again, it is a shared session. Again, it's a shared session, because
Yeah, see, you didn't lose a lot of wickets.
But it didn't score that many runs.
Yeah,
also.
so maybe it goes down again as a
I would say it's a shared session.
session.
Because 3 per over. and with only one wicket.
Yeah.
That's where I would say that it would be it. So that is what the situation is currently. And Vineet Thapa saying, Bumrah is not India. Indian team should look ahead to players who choose and pick matches if they are GOAT. They should groom other bowlers who might have long cricketing career. But see, there is it's a valid question, because why can't Bumrah be rested during IPL? But then in this IPL, he didn't play the first 5 games because he's recovering from that injury. He played the other 8-9 games, but then that is what you would expect him to do, isn't it? Now, going ahead, if you want to go ahead with the Jasprit Bumrah, with the action that he's got, and he's your very few permanent, you may say, all 3 format bowler. We don't know with Siraj whether he'll be there in T20Is, whether he'll be there in ODIs. Tests he's sure. But what about Jassi? Jassi will have to play all 3 formats until 2027. Yeah. Age is not on his side. So that's why they should groom other bowlers. But then who are the other bowlers who can match up to that huge void if Jasprit Bumrah isn't there?
Match up. What you can start is a process.
Yeah.
And that is something we like in Indian cricket, right, Siddharth? We like the process.
Oh, please.
But see, at some point you need to set the ball rolling. Simple as that. At some point.
It's been the most abused word, by the way, process, in this country. Everything, process, what are you talking about? It's just a simple thing that you've complicated with the process.
Okay.
So, freaking awesome is saying, if Arshdeep will bowl well in tests, then they will make him play in every format. Hope they'll not break him by pushing him hard. But everyone...
First, let him play all 3, na?
See, in ODIs, when was the last time he played? In T20Is, yes, he's been sensational.
See, even whatever ODIs that he played as well, then you've got a Harshit Rana who's eclipsed him, na, now.
Yeah, but then see, Harshit Rana, he also became a quick all 3 format player. Arshdeep also became a quick all format player. But then, if you look at it, tests, he's awaiting his debut. I would say India is just giving caps based on IPL. I am telling you, there is no method to the madness. You're just giving it on IPL performances and which team is dominating at this stage. Let's make it very honest here. We will be doing a video on why experts have absolutely banned the Indian management for resting Jasprit Bumrah. In the normal world, you need not have rested him because it was a 7-day break. But you're so spooked by what you did in the BGT that you have to do the other extreme now. That's the problem. And yeah, there is a ODI going on also. If Bangladesh will win to it, it's the first ever ODI victory against Sri Lanka in Colombo. Whoa, that's huge.
That'll mean a lot.
That'll mean a lot indeed. Yeah, Ramakoteshwara Rao is saying, Jaiswal did not get many balls in the last overs. He was standing at non-striker end. And Gill is not rotating strike in order to ensure strike rate. He went for the ball. He lost momentum and that's what I said. Last 6 overs, he just faced only 10 balls. And that is where somewhere he lost that particular momentum. And what looked like a almost certain 100, it just didn't happen at this stage. So, yeah, it's not looking good. By the way, many people are saying, like, what is the situation with the Bangladesh Sri Lanka game? Sorry.
Was there a turnaround? Looks like
it. Looks like there is a turnaround in that sense. So, yep.
And now that
I also have it. 102 for 4 in the chase of 245. A long way off here. Very, very long way off. It's still 102 for 4 with the pitch about to become a rank turner at Premadasa. No way. It's not happening. So, yep. We have the final session coming up at this stage with India at 182 for 3. And Rishabh Pant is looking good. And by the way, I mean, by the end of the series, Rishabh Pant could achieve something absolutely phenomenal if it happens. Because I'm not talking about hundreds. I mean, by the end of the series, he would have played 48 test matches. He would have actually hit 100 sixes in tests. Whoa. That is absolutely phenomenal. He's already begun with 1-6. And he's already on 82, by the way. He's at 82 sixes in 45 tests. And if he can go to 100 tests in just 48 test matches, man, oh man. Ultimate 6-hitting machine in tests. I don't know. I thought Rohit Sharma would be the guy who would be the only player to hit 100 sixes in all 3 formats. But that is not happening. I think, does Pant have a chance?
He needs to play a lot more of T20 cricket then.
ODI also. Because I don't think he's gotten that many ODI matches, and also he hasn't have that many sixes there. So yep, there's a special guest at the host broadcaster's bit. The king is here.
The prince.
The OG prince.
The OG
the prince of Calcutta is right here. And Priyanshu's asking...
You were speaking of records, Siddharth. Must I point out the fact that we were talking about records and Yashasvi Jaiswal narrowly missed out on a record that he could have had of his own. So today was his 39th innings in Test cricket, I believe, and he could have become the fastest to get to 2,000 runs in Test cricket. Now he's just he fell 10 runs short, and now I think if he ends up getting those 10 runs in the second innings, he'll equal the record of
Shimamla
Virender Sehwag.
Oh, Biru. Of course.
Quickest
Biru,
to score 2,000 Test runs.
An opener, matching an opener. What more can you ask? So then, Priyansh, Harshit bhai, 100% prediction karo. Kitna wicket girega last session mein? How many wickets will fall in the final session? And yeah, that's where we're going to wind up. How many runs do you think India are going to get in the final session?
Okay,
it's a 2.5 hour session, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to be a long session, the longest session of the day.
Why can't they bowl their overs on time? Yeah.
I see it's an extended session, so that there's a good chance that you get about 140 run kind of a session over here. So I'm going to add let's make it 153 runs in fact that I see India score in this session.
So 335 India will wind up.
Because I do agree, Siddharth, that at some point you're going to break free, and Rishabh Pant will come up with his assault as well. However, in the process, there could be a wicket or two that you lose. So where do I see this Indian team end? I think you could have 153 runs be scored in this particular session for the loss of 2 wickets.
Okay. I would say India will end the day at 310 for 6. Okay. 310 for 6 because they are 182 for 3, right? Yeah, another 128 runs, I would say. I think the pitch might, I don't know, if Pant decides to do it, could be 228 runs more. It could happen if Pant decides to go bust. But then, realistically, 310 for 6 is what I'm seeing the Indian team fold up, end the day on. Let's see how it pans out. So, yes, freaking awesome. Continuous commentary. They have lost 3 wickets in the last 5 minutes, Bangladesh.
Freaking awesome. Really liking that match. I think.
Eyes. Yeah, you have to see it at the Ketarama. It's a fantastic place to see cricket. I have had the privilege to be in there. And yes, it's a typical pitch. As it gets longer and longer, it will become a rank turner. And Bangladesh will just fold up in that sense. So, yep. Very excited for NK Reddy, yes.
That's what Debayan
Majumdar is saying. Yep. So, let's see how it pans out. Final session coming up with India 182 for 3. Let's see how many more runs can they put on. So, from me and Harshit's bye-bye, we'll be back for the lengthier post-match debate afterwards.
Pranshu's gone with 300 for 5. You let us know your thoughts as well. Plenty of you joining us right now. But remember, we're going to be here, I think...
at 11 o'clock.
At 11 o'clock sharp. And we will give you company all the way till midnight. Even beyond that, perhaps. Who knows? So join us for that lengthy post-match coverage of ours. Hopefully, we'll have Nikhil in the studio by that time as well as we... look back at this session. By the way, the broadcast has gone ahead and given the second session
to India.
The Indian team, but we sort of disagreed over there. So looking forward to your thoughts, and as always, thank you so much. Pleasure having your company, and we'll see you in 2.5 hours time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.